Welcome back to our channel. In today's lesson, we're diving into Antonya Nelson's powerful 9-step framework that transforms ordinary experiences into extraordinary stories that will captivate your readers. First off, let's explain what this writing framework is. Antonya Nelson's 9-step framework is a practical, flexible approach designed to help writers craft compelling short stories. Each step builds on the last, guiding you from initial inspiration to a finished, resonant narrative that connects with readers on a deep level. Think of it like building a house. You need a solid foundation, but you also have the freedom to add your own creative touches to make it uniquely yours. Now, let's break down each step and examine how it works with examples. Step 1. Write about a real experience. Begin with something grounded in your own life. Drawing from personal experience lends authenticity and emotional depth to your story, making it more relatable and vivid for readers. This doesn't mean you must write an autobiography, but use a real event, feeling, or observation as your starting point. For example, Emily writes about the time she was rejected from the school play. The sting of hearing her name not called, the walk home in the rain, the way her mom tried to comfort her with hot chocolate. These real emotions become the foundation for a story about resilience and finding your voice in unexpected places. Step 2. Write the story from a different point of view. Retell the same story, but from another character's perspective, ideally, someone with a stake in the outcome. This exercise deepens your understanding of character motivation and can dramatically shift the story's meaning or impact. For example, Emily's rejection story becomes completely different when told from her best friend Janet's perspective. Suddenly, we see Janet's internal struggle. She got the lead role Emily wanted, and now she's torn between her excitement and guilt. The story shifts from being about rejection to being about friendship, loyalty, and the complex emotions of success when someone you care about doesn't get what they want. Step 3. Create a ticking clock. Introduce an element of urgency by adding a countdown or deadline. This ticking clock could be literal or figurative. It raises stakes and keeps the narrative moving forward with unstoppable momentum. For example, in Janet's version of the story, the ticking clock becomes the opening night of the play, just 2 weeks away. Every rehearsal is a countdown. Every day, Janet sees Emily trying to be supportive while clearly hurting inside. She has 2 weeks to decide whether to give up her role or find another way to make things right. And with each passing day, the pressure intensifies. Step 4. Add a prop or significant object. Include an object that holds symbolic or practical significance within the story. Like the ring in The Lord of the Rings or a character's phone in a modern story, this prop can influence character choices, symbolize change, or serve as a motif that ties everything together. For example, in our story, the prop becomes Emily's worn copy of Hamilton, the play that inspired her to audition in the first place. Throughout the story, this book appears at crucial moments. Janet sees it in Emily's locker, she clutches it during Janet's performance, and eventually, it becomes the bridge to their reconciliation when Janet realizes they can create their own performance opportunity. Step 5. Create a transitional situation. Highlight a moment of change or transition for your character, something that shifts their world or perspective. This is the moment that propels the story into new territory and forces characters to adapt. For example, in our story, the transitional moment comes when Janet overhears Emily singing alone in the empty auditorium after school. Her voice is beautiful and raw, filled with emotion she's never heard before. This moment shifts everything. Janet realizes that Emily's talent deserves to be heard, and her perspective on success and friendship completely changes. Step 6. Anchor the story with a world event. Situate your story within a larger context by referencing a real-world event, holiday, or cultural moment. This not only grounds the story in reality, but can also add thematic resonance that readers can connect with. For example, our story takes place during the week leading up to Valentine's Day. The school is buzzing with romance and grand gestures, which creates a perfect backdrop for Janet's internal struggle about making a grand gesture of her own. Not romantic, but one of friendship and sacrifice. The holiday's theme of love extends beyond romance to encompass the love between friends. Step 7. Create opposition. Introduce binary forces or opposites, such as success versus failure, loyalty versus ambition, or friendship versus competition, to generate conflict. The sharper the opposition, the more narrative tension you can create. For example, in our story, the central opposition becomes Janet's desire to succeed, she's worked hard for this role and deserves it, versus her loyalty to Emily, her best friend who arguably deserves it more. This internal conflict is mirrored externally by the competitive theater environment versus the supportive friendship they've always shared. Step 8. Use Freytag's pyramid. Shape your story using Freytag's pyramid, a traditional story structure that includes exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. This classical structure helps organize your narrative, ensuring it builds tension and resolves in a satisfying way. Take a look at the example structure on screen for Janet's and Emily's story. The exposition includes events such as cast list posted, Janet gets the Juliet role, Emily gets the ensemble. The rising action events include Janet's growing guilt, Emily's forced smiles, Janet overhearing Emily sing, and the Valentine's Day pressure building. The climax includes Janet's moment of decision when she confronts Emily honestly about what she overheard. The falling action events include when they brainstorm a solution together and approach the drama teacher about a student-directed Hamilton showcase. The resolution is when both Janet and Emily perform in the showcase, and their friendship is deeper than before. Step 9. Embrace experimentation. Finally, break the rules. Try something unconventional. Experiment with form, narrative voice, or structure. This could mean writing in text messages or diary format, using an unreliable narrator, changing the genre of the story, or playing with time through the use of flashbacks and flash forwards. The goal is to push your creative boundaries. For example, the final version of Janet and Emily's story could be told entirely through their text message conversation over those 2 weeks, showing their friendship strain and heal through the evolution of their digital communication. From Janet's excited messages about getting the role to Emily's forced congratulations, to their eventual honest conversation that leads to their creative solution. And there you have it, all 9 steps explained. What makes Nelson's framework so powerful is how each step builds on the others. You start with authentic emotion from your real experience, then layer on different perspectives, urgency, symbolic objects, moments of change, real-world context, compelling conflict, solid structure, and finally, your unique creative voice. The beauty of this system is its flexibility. You can use this framework for any genre, from romance to sci-fi to thriller. While the core steps provide a strong foundation, writers can adjust, expand, or skip elements as needed. A mystery might layer multiple ticking clocks for suspense, a fantasy could weave in several symbolic props, and a contemporary drama might focus heavily on the transitional situation and opposing forces to explore deep character development. Remember, great stories aren't just about what happens, they're about how what happens changes the people involved and resonates with universal human experiences. This framework gives you the tools to transform your personal experiences into stories that will stick with readers long after they've finished reading. What's a real experience from your life that you think could become an amazing story using these 9 steps? Drop a comment below, and let's start building your next masterpiece together. That's all from us today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more lessons and ideas. See you next time.